Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, it's been said that 2024 is the year that woke goes to die. Whether that'll actually end up being true, it certainly is definitely looking like that in a lot of different aspects. We've seen plenty of the attempts at these video games out there just failing miserably. It's right out there on launch. The most recent edition, of course, is Star Wars Outlaws. Things have just absolutely failed miserably. And a strange concept that a lot of these acolytes of the cult out there will never understand is that, yes, when you make video games that are actually just fun and stick to the lore and actually respect your player fan base, you'll be absolutely successful. Well, of course, we know that Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2, of course, is absolutely out there dominating all of the rest of the Warhammer 40k video games of all time in history. It is absolutely crushing it on the Steam list out there for a Warhammer 40k game as well. And well, it turns out, boys and girls, it very much looks like the developer behind this game might actually be based and absolutely cannot stand the agenda if this little post out there is rumored to be true. And well, as of right now, it looks like it for right now. So we're going to run with it. We're going to check it out. We're going to see what they actually say about all of this kind of stuff and see if this comment ends up being legit. But either way, it's a beautiful thing to hear, and it probably explains why Space Marine 2 is so damn good and all of the fans are loving it. So we're going to check out this article from thatparkplace.com and check out all the juicy details, see exactly what he said on this comment out there, and of course, listen to him bag all of his time at Embracer Group as well. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe if you have not already, because we are grinding, we are growing over here, boys and girls, and I could not do that without every single one of you. Also, leave us a comment in the section down below. Does it surprise you to hear a video game developer coming out there and giving such a based take on all this kind of stuff? Do you think that's partially responsible for why Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2 is such a good deal? Because this guy is just a common sense person out there who just wants to make good video games for video game players? Or do you think this might all end up being a big old false statement and might end up all blowing up in our faces? Let us know what you think about all that in the comments section down below. So from our dear sweet friends over at That Park Place and the wonderful John F. Trent, Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2 developer admits games at Embracer made him want to cry with their overblown attempts at messaging or imposing morals on gamers. Now, tell me that isn't something that we have seen happen time and time again in video games. Concord, anyone, boys and girls, Dustborn, how'd that work out for the Saints Row reboot? Yeah, I think that studio's collapsed. How's that working out for Star Wars Outlaws? How's that going to work out for Assassin's Creed Shadows? Yeah, messaging doesn't sell, and the culture has woken up to your BS, and everyone rejects it. Enjoy that reality, cultists. Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2 developer and Saber Interactive CEO Matthew Karch recently revealed that he is not a fan of creating games that have overblown attempts at messaging or imposing morals. And yes, as a friendly reminder how well this is actually going for them, Space Marine 2 had the 10th biggest Steam launch this year, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, it's out there crushing it. And a comment on a video of the Asmongold TV YouTube channel. So yeah, I think it's real. Where Asmongold reacts to legendary drops, Space Marine 2 is a reminder of what we lost. Karch made his opinion clear. He says, hey man, CEO of Saber here. I love your videos. When we signed the deal to make Space Marine 2, all I wanted was a throwback game. We had the chance to work on something which is by its nature was old school. I mean, Warhammer 40k, it's literally about just roided up like huge gigantic guys going out there and just stomping around in huge power armor, just absolutely crushing Xenos and heretic scum alike. And it's great. I love the game. I played it for like, I just love it. I love it. I can't wait to get back into it again. Make sure you hit that notification bell if you haven't already so you can see us go live playing this kind of game, especially if this is something you enjoy. And even if not, just come hang out with us on the live streams. It's a great time out there. I can't even comprehend many of the current games that we play these days. They are too complex and too much of an investment. He says, we worked on Halo back in the day, and that game could be distilled down to the simplest of shooting loops, but it was entirely addicting. That is what we wanted to recapture. And that's absolutely great. I mean, like, I think the only real complaint that I've heard about like Space Marine 2 from a lot of people, from anybody out there, is like, well, the missions seem a little repetitive during the campaign. And that's true and that's accurate. But a lot of that kind of stuff, it was the same for a lot of our fan favorite games out there. Like it was kind of like the same kind of mission over and over again, which of course, would we like to see a variety? Yes. Would I give Space Marine more of a 10 out of 10 than just like an 8 or a 9 out of 10 if they gave us that kind of thing? And especially if the campaign was a little bit longer, especially especially as a guy that's a fan of the campaigns kind of stuff? Yes, but nonetheless, it's a solid, good game with no agenda-driven nonsense in it, and you get still a blast of a game to have fun with, and it really does give you the feel of how it would be to be a Space Marine inside of the Space Marine universe out there. And yes, shout out to the cover I use out there. I love my Dark Angels. I finally got my Dark Angels stuff going too. It looks so good out there now. Karch then shared his hope that Space Marine 2 and Black Myth Wukong are the start of a revival in the video game industry to get back to fun and immersion. He wrote, I hope that games like Space Marine 2 and Wukong are the start of a reversion of time and where games were simply about fun and immersion. And I think this is what everybody's talking about. This is one of the issues. Immersion, right? Escapism. That's what video games are supposed to be. So when you interject people's real world politics into these kind of video games, you completely and totally break the narrative. And guess what? People don't want that. If they wanted news and politics, they'd go watch the news, not play a video game, which is why you're failing, because you don't understand the gaming industry, you don't understand gamers, you don't understand the customers. You just thought we were a bunch of morons out there that would lap up whatever stupid fun little game they'd put out there next, except now you're failing miserably. And guess what? You're not going to educate the gamers. If anything, we're going to educate you on what bankruptcy feels like, and I'm here for it. Concord, anyone? Finally, he lamented the state of the industry during his brief time as Chief Operating Officer at Embracer Group. I spent some time as the Chief Operating Officer at Embracer, and I saw that the games were made me want to cry with their overblown attempts at messaging or imposing morals on gamers. Yes, trying to force your opinion, your worldview on everyone else. Because you think you're the smartest and bestest and best ever. You're just so much smarter than everybody else out there, and you're just so much more superior that you have to educate all of us dumb nerds out there on things. Yeah, how's that going for you again? Oh, that's right. Go woke, go broke. So it appears he has accomplished this with Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2, despite Warhammer's parent company, Games Workshop, embracing, pushing the overblown messaging and attempting to impose morals on gamers, which obviously we've documented this kind of stuff a lot on Warhammer 40K and what they've done with the female custodies and all that kind of nonsense and all the pushback and the blowback that they've got for that. Trust me, it is not going to end well for Games Workshop. And Games Workshop, and this is one of the comparisons I've made on our live streams before, is Games Workshop is very much in the same kind of financial situation as what a lot of these smaller video game developer companies are, right? Games Workshop is not Disney. They are not Hollywood. They do not have they do not have like what feels like sometimes billions of dollars of endless money to continue throwing at stuff like this. There's a reason why if a game doesn't go very well or if the models don't sell, Games Workshop almost immediately gets rid of that kind of stuff and you'll never hear it again because of that kind of thing. Games Workshop is set but established very similar to like what a small video game development company was. So when they do go this direction, I'd imagine we're going to find out whether or not Games Workshop and their people in charge of that company over there are completely and totally down and possessed by the spirit of the age, or if they actually still want to end up making money, because you will see a turnaround inside of that company very quickly once these models stop selling and once a lot of this other kind of nonsense continues to get pushed back and heat. No matter who's in charge of their social media company, someone at the end of the day has to make money at that company or nobody's salaries get paid. And that's why I do believe Games Workshop is one of the few companies out there that we could actually see a significant turnaround before this stuff gets too far that it completely and totally damages and destroys their brand. But hey, at the end of the day, we'll see what happens. So it appears that he has accomplished that with Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2, despite that kind of stuff. The game has a user score of 80 on Metacritic from 440 reviews. It has 341 positive reviews across PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox, 48 mixed reviews, and just 51 negative reviews. On Steam, it has a very positive review from a total of 52,085 viewers. Some of the top reviews praise the game for its old school feel. A review from Fattest Falcon states, this game feels like it was made in the 2000s and early 2010s, but in a good way. Broken wrote, what a good game. It's simple, fun, and epic. If you don't know anything about Warhammer 40K, this is a good introduction. If you're already a fan of the universe, you must have this game. Honestly, it might be my game of the year. This year, the Emperor protects, indeed. And see, this person actually liked that the campaign wasn't so long with filler and tedious missions. It was intense and focused, something that is rare these days. And I'm just a guy that loves a long campaign. I'm not really into the online play, but obviously now that I've been doing this, now that I do this YouTube thing full time, I have a lot of great friends that I love playing with. We were playing with Quarterblack Garrett on Space Marine 2 on day one of the launch. Like, it was a lot of fun. We've Pudge and Lumpy Potatoes and everybody else. We've had just a great time playing this game with a lot of friends. And I now now that I'm in this sphere more, I love these kind of games that I can actually go out there and play with you guys, and we can have a good time and do all that kind of stuff. And like I said, we talked about this earlier. There's a few complaints over here, over there, and all this kind of stuff. So the campaign, I just wish it would run better. I honestly had a couple of issues with it crashing and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, this is what you do. This is the kind of success you get with a game where you simply make it all about good times, having a good time, great immersion. You make it old school. And it sounds like this guy absolutely gets it. There were some comments out there online talking about, hey, man, protect this guy with your lives, make sure he's taken care of, make sure he's defended, all that kind of stuff. So shout out to freaking Karch, man. Shout out to this guy, because Matthew Karch, you're a legend, dude. And you made a game that everybody loves, and now you're getting rewarded for it. And this is like the most dominating thing in the Warhammer 40K universe right now. It's the most successful game that they have ever seen come out of their franchise. It is absolutely crushing it, and guess what? It's basic. It's simple. It just shows and represents the Warhammer 40K universe that everyone knows, all the fans know and love. And for all of you that first getting into this game, this is also something that's a great entry point. There's no BS. There's no agenda. There's no nonsense. And guess what? When you do that, you're successful. The 10th biggest Steam launch this year. And that's what things like Black Myth, Wukong, and everything else just absolutely dominating the charts. So you know what? Shout out Matthew Karch. Shout out Saber Interactive, because you have given us a wonderful game. You have put out the statements and said you are absolutely very accurate. You're just a common sense guy. Do we care about his politics? No. I don't care where this guy comes from, but he's making a common sense statement that no one can deny. At the end of the day, video games are about having a good time, not dealing with a bunch of buggy, broken issues, and feeling immersed and taken away from the real world. That's why Go Broke is proven time tested and true again and again, because that's not what people want from their escapism. And guess what? Gamers are smarter than you. We always have been, and we always will be. So shout out to Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2. It's a continued success. Matthew, may your house continue to grow, and may you continue to give us good quality games for Space Marine 2, because boys and girls, I cannot wait to purge some Xenos and some heretic scum. Once again, at the end of the day, the Emperor protects, and may he protect Matthew, because it's for the Emperor, and it's to purge all of these Xeno scum from this universe. And I cannot wait to see the continued success of this game. At the end of the day, you get exactly what you deserve, and Matthew, you're getting the good end of that. Enjoy the continued success, and remember, you make the fans happy, and we'll make you rich.